Sort of watching this Indiana basketball game against Michigan State. Seemed like from the get-go, Indiana knew they didn't belong on the floor. Michigan State did what they wanted, and Indiana tried to rebound, but they're not very good. They're just not a very good basketball team, and so they wind up losing by 13 to a game where it could have been 25. It didn't just need to be 13. I talked to my son a little bit after halftime, and he said, it's 7, but it could be 25. There's no way they're getting over this hump. And he was exactly right. There was no way they were getting over that hump. Indiana is just not very good. They got a bunch of mid-major guys playing mid-major level basketball as hard as they can, but that's not good enough to win in the Big Ten. And so they are now 8-10 in the Big Ten, having lost the last 4 games. They've got Minnesota at Assembly Hall coming up, and then they got Ohio State on the road, and if they don't win those 2 games, not only aren't they going to make the NCAA tournament, they don't belong in the NCAA tournament. This is a very, very special IU postgame from the Southern Bureau. We are in Bradenton, Florida right now. It's all she wrote, fellas. You know what I think, Sergeant Zeus? I think you're right, and I think it was that way. I don't think we needed to see this game to know that that was the case. I mean, those games against Michigan, the game against Illinois, the game against Purdue, you know what, the game against Northwestern especially. When they lost to Northwestern, I think we saw what this team is. And that's a flawed team that was put together on the quick by Darren DeVries. I'm not going to cut bait from Darren DeVries. I'm not. Darren DeVries, I think, is going to be a quality coach at Indiana. I think it's going to work out. This year, what he tried to do, it didn't work. And what he tried to do was, against all odds, build a team that could compete in the Big Ten. And it just couldn't be done in the way he tried to do it. And in the way he would have tried to do it differently, it would have cost a ton of money, and it must have been money that they're trying to save and spend on future classes. But here's what I want to see. I want to see against Minnesota, and I want to see against Ohio State. I want to see Trent Sisley play, because I know these guys can't win. These guys who are playing right now cannot win games at Indiana. I think Trent Sisley, maybe he's got a shot. And if he doesn't do it, at least he's going to get better for next year. I don't want to see these guys play any more basketball trying to win games that they are physically incapable of competing in. I don't want to see that again. And so let's move on from that. Toby says, not saying DeVries should be gone. I'm just saying this team doesn't deserve to be in the tournament, not even the NIT. They should be in the NIT. I get what you're saying. I mean, this is free Sisley. Damn right. It's like free Johnny Pabst, right? Free Sisley. Let's go. What are we doing? Play the freshman, and let's get him enough experience so he's going to be better next year, because this year the ship has sailed. It has left the port. It has been torpedoed, and it's sunk. It's gone. So let's not do this anymore. Let's do the best we can for next year. And the best we can for next year is get Dorn, and Miles is a senior, right? Let's get Sisley out there. Let's get anybody out there who's got a chance to play next year. Bench had 0 points. How about that? And they shot it like they were blind in the beginning of the game. I mean, they were 1 of 9 from 3. If they're not going to make threes, if they're not going to make at least 40% of their threes, they have no chance to beat a team like Michigan State. Every time Indiana got a little bit close, you knew what was going to happen. You knew 7 was going to become 10. You knew that 10 at some point was going to become 13. Another pathetic performance. They're just not very good. I don't think, you know what, pathetic performance? Yes, I'll give you that. Pathetic effort, I will not give you. I don't think that it was a pathetic effort. Those guys play hard. They are trying. They are just not capable of beating a team as talented and as well coached as Michigan State. They're not. He's obviously trying. I don't think he's obviously trying to run out Sisley. What would he do? Toward what end would he do that? How does that help you at all moving forward? Unless he's some kind of closet case. Unless he's some kind of a Nimrod as a human being, but I don't think that that's the case. Dusty did, Pat Kelsey did. Pat Kelsey did. And Dusty did too. But the shelves weren't bare. They were for Louisville. Louisville really didn't have anybody coming back. Michigan did have guys coming back. And Dusty did the right job in putting it together. DeVries didn't. That doesn't mean that 3 and 4 years in, he's not going to be able to do what he does at a high level and do the right thing and get it done. I'd like to see them not dribble. Whip the ball wing to wing, back and forth. Something will open up. The stagnation is bad at times. No question, they over dribble. I don't like that. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't think that what Indiana's running as far as an offense, I don't think that it's a mystery to any of the coaches in the Big Ten. They're like, we know what this is. We know how to defend this. They've really got nothing in the middle. They have nothing. They have no bigs who can score a bunch of points. Sam Alexis, God bless him, he's not the guy. Sicily is getting run off Kent. You know that? No, I don't know that. And I don't know why that would be the case. So help me out there. Tell me why they would be trying to run out Trent Sicily. How does that make sense to anybody? We have no rim protectors. Reed Bailey isn't a power forward player. I don't know how Reed Bailey scored the way he did at Davidson or defended at Davidson. He can't play here. No question about that. I don't understand how anybody thought he would. Afternoon to you, Evan. Defense and rebounding wins and loses games. No question about that. Absolutely no question. It does. And rebounding has been a bone of contention the entire season. Offense has no spacing. Defense switches into horrible matchups. They do, and they have. And you saw that. What game was that? Where they had Enright doubling. Was that Illinois? They had Enright doubling. No, it was Purdue. He was doubling off Braden Smith twice. First two possessions, and they wound up being down 6-0. How's that work? Did they lose again, Kent? I don't get it. Yes, they did lose. We have mid-major players. We do. This program is Groundhog Day. This team has become Groundhog Day over the last 4 games. No question. You can see they try, but they're just not good enough. And we shouldn't dog out the players, and we shouldn't dog out the coaches. I mean, they did their best. They've won 8 games in the Big Ten. That's not easy. I don't know. I just can't get all, still say that DeVries is the guy. I don't know whether he is, but I don't know whether he isn't. And neither do you know whether he isn't. There's no way to categorically at this point say that DeVries cannot coach his team. That's not where this is. So we need to find out. Hire Signetti already. Does he have a kid who can coach basketball or has any idea about basketball and leadership? And I'm just kidding. I think DeVries, he's going to be all right. He's just got to go out and recruit real guys. I think with real guys, he's going to win. And that's not to, put Wilkerson and Bailey and Alexis and these guys on blast. They are who they are. They're not going to be any better than who they are. They just are who they are. And they're doing their best, and that's fine. All right? The results say differently. What do they say differently? All 3, no D, doesn't win. No question about that. Painter said the problem at IU is that they don't stick with the coach. Well, what coach you want them to stick with? Which of the last bunch of coaches would you like them to stick with? You want them to stick with Archie Miller? Is that the one you want them to stick with? No. You want them to stick with Mike Woodson? No. If you hire the wrong coach, then sticking with the wrong coach is a bad idea. Tom Crean, the time had come for Tom Crean to go do something else for a living. The University of Georgia made the mistake of hiring him. All right? The resulting product stinks. Yes, it does. Right now. And that's the way it is. First-year coach, it isn't always going to be Pat Kelsey. I mean, we can talk about Pat Kelsey and we can talk about Dusty May, but most of the guys who take over a program first year, they build it. They get that thing ramped up. They get it going. Ben McCollum, I think, that's a good comp. I don't know whether McCollum would have taken the job if offered. I'm not sure he wasn't offered. tell you the truth. I don't know whether Ben McCollum would be doing a better job at Indiana than is Darren DeVries. But I don't know yet that DeVries can't do a good job. I think that it's very, very possible that he will do a good job. And so you keep building this thing and you keep expanding the high school recruits, and you go out and fill in the kind of the breaches with transfers, and you see what you can get done. Time to root for Purdue now, Kent? Oof. You know what? I always root for Purdue a little bit because I like Matt. I like the way they do things. I like the way Painter's put together Purdue. I think Purdue is really, really smart, and I think Matt Painter's really smart and a really good dude. So, you know what? I'm not going to root against Purdue. I take no joy in their losing, although it is kind of fun to see them lose early in the Big Ten tournament and early in the NCAA tournament. Painter is a damn good coach. He knows who he is. I think DeVries knows who he is. I think if you're going to be a really good coach, that starts with knowing who the hell you are. And for the first time, I think Indiana's got a coach who knows who he is. And so I'm willing to stick with him and see what happens next year and the year after and the year after that. I think this is the one you stick with. Archie Miller was a terrible hire. Mike Woodson was a god-awful hire. That was hideous. That was a terrible decision made on Quinn Buckner's part. And he shouldn't be forgiven for that. You can't just put somebody in that chair who played for Bob Knight and think all of a sudden you're going to get Bob Knight stuff out of it. As soon as he ran off Thad and as soon as he ran off Dane, we should have known that this is an insecure human being. What's it going to take to get another Painter at IU? Well, you can't. I mean, you're 20 years away from it. You need Darren DeVries to be the guy for 20 years. And then you need somebody from like year 5 to take this thing over and continue the culture, assuming that DeVries is the right guy. Because that is what Purdue did with Painter. It's not just going and getting Painter. Painter knew the Purdue culture. He knew everything about Purdue. And so he's at Southern Illinois, won at Southern Illinois briefly, comes in to Purdue to take over for Gene, who he played for, and continue that Purdue culture. And then he went a little bit awry between like 2012, 2014, and what happened? Hey, I'm gonna poop in that thing in about 15 minutes, just because, it's just there. So, got the Irish flag up, our hosts with the mosts, and off you go. We hired a bad coach. We didn't hire a bad coach. Why do you think he's a bad coach? You could even see, wait a second. You could even see how the players are playing. The players aren't very good. They're not good basketball players. They don't have the potential to become good basketball players. That's the problem. Like if you have bad players, you cannot coach a group of bad players to be a winning team. You can't. So good, now that he's a third-rate analyst on TV. I don't know who you're talking about there. Offense is terrible. Painter is very good. He is very good. You got to be very good in the Big Ten. You can't win if you're not very good, even with good players. But you know what? Nobody thinks that their coach is very good. I talked to some guys last night. Where were we? We were at a place, Boats. What was it called? Floridays, it was called. I think it's some tiki bar. And there were guys there from Illinois. And I said, hey, you got a good one in Brad Underwood. They're like, nah. Hey, Brad can recruit, but in game, terrible coach. You hear from Michigan fans who don't think that Dusty May's a very good coach. Nobody thinks their coach is very good. There are people at Michigan State who complain about Izzo. He's 26 years removed from his last NCAA championship, they say. Greg Gard, not very good. It's everywhere. Nobody thinks their coach is very good. Even at Purdue, they don't think that Painter's very good. Some of the people from Purdue. He's got to win the big one. Next week, NFL free agency starts, and that's going to be huge, Charles. By the way, good evening, Charles. DeVries is a very capable coach. Firing a coach after year one, what are you just going to hand guys $25 million every year to walk out the door and live the rest of their lives? I mean, you can't do that. I trust that Scott Dolson knows what the hell he's doing a little bit. So you should trust Scott Dolson a little bit. He hired Cignetti. Let's give him a little bit of grace with this hire. Figure it out. We only got what? We got a week? I think it's a week from today that spring practice is going to start for football. Let's go football. Let's see if they can go back to the college football playoffs. All right, let's get positive about something, can we? All right, have a good night. Enjoy yourself. We will be breakfast with Kent tomorrow morning. We'll be talking, obviously, about this, about the opening of free agency, all of that. And then we will be on a plane. We will be back at the home office tomorrow afternoon at some point, and that's when we'll do Inside Indiana Sports Now, and we'll be back. We'll be back in rhythm. Don't worry. And Indiana's going to be back in rhythm eventually. Dolson never shows any expressions on the sidelines, and good for him. It's not his job to show expressions. When he's in a meeting with DeVries, show expressions. This is an IU postgame. It is an IU postgame. Oh, you're talking about the Colts comment. IU football undefeated next year. You heard it here first. That would be quite something. And I hope you're right.